Hey friends, Michelle here at the intersection of pedagogy and technology. And today I want to look at some AI images that were generated from text. So I have 50 of them to look at, and you can see on the first one here on my screen that what I typed that I wanted was a photo of a child sitting on Santa's knee crying. Santa is happy. So here's our first one. And I think I've mentioned before that if you're trying to ascertain if something was created by AI, one of the good things to do is to remember to look at the hands. On humans, look at hands, and on animals, look at paws or talons or kind of that same thing, because you're going to get a lot of information off the digits. So beyond the ridiculous expressions on the children's faces, we've got some definite challenges with the appendages. The child here in the gray shirt appears to only have one leg, which isn't a problem, except that there seems to be no evidence of anything other than that. And so we're going to see lots of that in some of these images. So we're just going to have a laugh here and enjoy what AI comes up with. So there's another one, child crying on Santa's knee. Now, Santa has a red clown nose, not one, but three of them. And his face really does not look like a photo. I don't think I even need to mention the child. Here's a family photo, and if we were to zoom in on their faces, we can see that there's quite a number of issues with this photo, and I don't need to be your descriptor to see that this is problematic. We're just going to move along. Now Santa's crying or yelling or something. And I'm not sure if this kid is missing a foot or if he lost his boot on the way over to have his photo taken with Santa, but definitely we have some problems here. If anybody can name the animal, I'd certainly be interested, and I'd love to know what the deal is with these hands over top of Santa's shoulders. So this is a photo of 5 children playing together at a table. Again, we're going to look at the hands. I think that's an adult hand on that kid. This kid has a whole bunch of hands going on, but you can see that the hands are really a tell for something that has been created using AI. Another photo of children playing at a table, same sorts of problems that we're seeing in the other images. Then I asked it for a photo such as this, and it refused because that is going to result in content that doesn't meet the policies. So what I like about that is just simply the fact that we are starting to see evidence in these utilities of some ethics and some standards for what we are asking for. Okay, photo of students in a classroom learning math with manipulatives. I've never seen those manipulatives before in my life, and we have some problems going on the eyes of some of the children. That comes across right away, but lots of challenges just within the image itself. Another one of students who are learning math with some manipulatives. A photo of a teenage girl leaning against lockers looking at her phone. I'm not sure where she's looking, but it doesn't seem to be at her phone, and again, we can look to the hands for the tell. Also not looking at her phone, there is a phone in her hands which are also not properly formed, and she's not looking at the phone. A photo of students seated on the floor in the gym for an assembly. I've never seen students assembled like that for an assembly, and something's really wrong with the gym floor. That's really warped. The students are maybe set up for a powwow or something that may involve a circular formation. I'm not sure what we've got going on over here, but this definitely does not look like an assembly, and something is clearly not right with that child's legs. Okay, students playing at centers in kindergarten. And again, we get some problems in the faces and some definite problems with the hands and the digits. So we've got some more kindergarten. As the row of children goes, they start to kind of fuse into each other. Photo of high school students conducting an experiment in chemistry. And again, I'm not sure how many fingers we actually have on this student, and the glove on the other student appears to be very, very similar. Again, we have a big bunch of confused hands. We've got some confused test tubes and definitely some confusion on the faces. This is one busy principal since he's writing notes with both hands, his left hand appearing to be somewhat awkward. Okay, yeah, student giving a presentation to the class. Everything doesn't look too badly. I mean, nothing on the board is actually words or legible writing. But his face, my goodness, faces are not that difficult, I don't think, for AI to generate, but that's really quite problematic. Hey, children lined up waiting to enter a school, and if you look carefully at most of them, their faces are kind of more on the side of their heads than actually on the front of their heads. Children playing basketball in gym class. So again, we're going to look at the digits and we're going to look at the attempts on motion effects. It's problematic. In addition, this child seems to be missing an arm, which again is not a problem, but I know that that is not how the AI intended that to come out. Missing a foot. We've got some digit problems again, more digit problems. It's ongoing. The problems are what they are, but this is really, by and large, what we see when we're looking at modern text-to-image kind of software. So he looks like he's got his leg up and he's maybe going to try to do some kind of a fancy move, but then when I look closer, I realize I don't think he has an actual knee and lower leg. This child, again, we're seeing the digit problems, the hands and the feet. Okay, children getting off a school bus. This child has 2 arms on the left side and other potential challenges that are just difficult to really get to the bottom of. Perhaps we have legs here that don't have a top of the body just based off the proportions. So I'm digging this kid's smile. And they're getting onto a bus, which looks nothing like the steps of a school bus when you get on. And again, it's just image chaos. Okay, teenage friends hanging out together at school. Looks like a pretty typical photo, but everybody's eyes are really, really wrecked. This one, the faces are similar, but we're into the digits problem again. We seem to have an extra leg sitting here because the girl's wearing a skirt, this boy's wearing jeans, but there's an extra leg just kind of hanging out there. And I think there's an extra leg hanging out here too. Photo of a boy sitting under an umbrella reading a comic book with volcano in the background. Okay, we have all of the things in place, but I asked for a photo, not a drawing. And the word comic book seems to have compelled the AI to draw this in a comic book style as opposed to providing a photo, which was the instruction. Okay, photo of a girl sitting on a swing holding a doll in her hand. Well, she's on a swing, but it's not really a doll. I guess it could be considered a doll, but it's definitely not in her hand. Her hands are hanging onto the rope, and her hands do not look like hands that would match a child of her age, and we're not even going to talk about her eyes. So there's another one. Now she's holding a doll she's on a swing. She's holding a doll in her hands. Her hands are messy, her eyes are messy, but at least the doll's in the right position. Now, this girl is not even sitting on the swing. The swing is on top of her lap. The aspect doesn't allow us to see that she's not actually standing. She's sitting, but not sitting on the swing. And she has a large number of fingers on her left hand. Students playing on the playground. Okay, so we've got some running and racing going on. I'm just not really sure what this bar is. That seems to kind of turn into a human leg part way through, and I'm not sure if they're attacking it. I have no idea what's going on there. Another one of children playing on playground. That slide looks dangerous, and the children look like they've been hurt by that slide because they're not looking very good. Photo of students playing a game. Again, I'm going to draw your attention to the digits. A photo of a boy with his service animal. Well, for this one, we got a boy and we got a dog, and there really isn't anything too out there with what we can see. On the zoomed out picture, the boy's eyes are much like the other eyes in this set of photos. But, service animal, the dog is at least logical. We didn't end up with a service kangaroo. Here's another one of a boy with his service animal. And we can see in this one that the dog has a tail that's like coming out the side of the dog. Other than that, the photo's not actually that bad, but that tail there is a little weird. And then I asked it for a photo of a boy with his service cat. And this is what we got. It looks like some sort of a combination of a drawn cat and a photo of a cat. And it's not really a big cat or a small cat. And it might even have kind of the underjaw of a dog. I'm not sure. The boy also appears to have a lot of knuckles. And then I ask it for 3 kids having a fight on the playground. And you'll right away notice that there's actually 4 kids in this image before we even start to talk about what's going on here with the chicken-winged arm and the number of fingers and knuckles. This one at least has 3 kids. This kid has 2 right arms coming out of his sleeve, and I'm not sure how many arms this kid has. So we got the right number of kids, but all of the appendages seems to be gravely wrong. And finally, we've got another one of some kids who are fighting on the playground. I'm not really sure what we've got going on with the older child here. One would maybe expect him to be trying to break up the fight, but that does not seem to be the way of it. This kid has a leg and a knee, and then we see his matched shoe, but it doesn't really attach to his leg. It kind of looks like it's on this other kid. And here we have something going on with a foot, or maybe that's a hand at the end of his leg. I'm not entirely sure. We got multiple arms coming from this child. So you can see that there are still some very big problems in text to image generation. We're missing some feet over here, or we've got some extra shoes or some floating shoes. I'm not really sure. I think that's a hand. And another track meet image. This time we don't have the right number of shadows on the ground for the number of runners that are in the race. And there's a host of other challenges within this image as well, not the least of which is the lack of a shoe or that explosion. Maybe he's got lava coming off his foot, not sure. Here's a school bus with a whole bunch of problems. I don't even need to probably draw your attention to some of the challenges in this image. With this one, I ask for students on a school bus. There doesn't seem to be a driver. There doesn't even really seem to be a front window. They all seem to be kind of hanging out the front of the bus. And then this kid's just like floating in the air. Well, actually, there's a couple kids floating in the air, and I don't see a door. If there is a door, it's definitely not open to let them on. Another one in the bus, I'm not really sure why we have this floating seat in the middle with this pole that's kind of more like a subway of some type. School buses don't typically have a pole right in the middle of them. And whatever's going on with this child, I hope she gets home soon. So there we have it. There's our 50 images, text to image generation. I did these in Canva, all of them. So if you're thinking that Canva is going to be the place where we begin to really forge some great photos and do some incredible things, we got a lot of work ahead of us before we are at that stage yet. But this is fun, this is funny, and it's very first Jenny. It's not always going to be like this, but today it is, and I find that amusing. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching.